So welcome everyone. I am Ira Dasa Baldomero from Activity 3A FSM, and now I am going to discuss about the characteristic of good instructional materials and technology tools. So for our objectives at the end of the discussion, you should be able to number 1 is define instructional materials. Number 2 is classify different characteristics of good instructional materials. Number 3 is define and identify technology tools for learning. Number 4 is create a good instructional materials and present it using technology tools. Number 5 is value the importance of good instructional materials and technology tools. We are now proceed to our discussion. So, the first I am going to discuss is about the instructional materials. First, we must define what is instructional materials. So, there are these are the content or information conveyed within a course. These include the lectures, reading, textbook, multimedia components, and other resources in the course. So, the use of instructional materials is big help for the teacher to facilitate the teaching learning process. So, there are 7 characteristics of good instructional materials that will help you to your teaching learning process. So, number 1 is the size. It is a must that the material is big enough to be seen by the farthest student in the classroom. Consider also the font size and the font style to be used in making instructional materials. You need to consider the student's capability to see and make your work more readable for each student. So, number 2 is the color. So, students are more interested to those materials which is colorful and beautiful. Remember that mostly students are more attractive to the bright colors because it easily catching the student attention and facilitate learning process. So number 3 is the durability. For the durability, instructional materials are not made for one session only. They must last if possible until lifetime so that it can be reused. See to it that it can stand longer duration of time so that the effort and money you render to have it will not lose in just one glimpse or snap. So number 4, which is the economy. So for the economy, consider also the teacher expenses in making the instructional materials. So they can use their own resourcefulness and creativity to produce their own material. If possible, use the cheaper things in making your material so that it cannot burden on your part. So number 5 is the portability. So our material must be easy to handle and carry so that it is more convenient for your part to carry it whenever you will teach. Imagine if you are teaching back and forth and your instructional material is too heavy and big. It is not convenient for you to have it. So number 6, which is the relatability. So of course, it is a must that the instructional materials you are using is related to the topic or lesson you are into it. So remember that the teacher uses instructional materials to ease the burden of the teaching and so that the student will understand the subject matter. So the last characteristic of good instructional materials is the unique. So for the unique, so students want to have things which make them curious about it. Let them manipulate the material to evaluate how they learn through their own. In teaching, it is a must to have something remarkable in order the student remember your lesson. So, instructional materials takes the pupil to formulate or general ideas in order that learning process would be faster and easier. So, before I end the discussion in instructional materials, I just want to share with you some tips in building instructional materials. Some of it mentioned a while ago in my discussion.
When teachers follow a few simple design rules as they create learning materials, students don't spend valuable brain power trying to understand how the lesson is organized. Instead, they are freed up to participate in the cognitive, social, and emotional work we want them to focus on. Here are 4 teacher-tested tips to follow when creating materials for your students. Use font size and color to focus student attention on the most important information. Limit yourself to 2 fonts that are easy to read. Use contrasting colors for background and text to make sure everything's legible. Simple annotations like arrows or circles can provide important visual cues, but use photos, graphs, and charts only when they contribute to the learning. Think about the last time you decluttered your space. You probably felt calmer, more organized, and even invigorated. Bring that same sensation to your learning materials. Take a hard look. Has every word earned its place on the page? Do you have a wall of text? If so, break it up using bullet points or lists, and don't be afraid of some empty space, which can give students the breathing room to focus on what's important. Most students are navigating through a mountain of materials. It's helpful if the layout feels familiar so they know where to find things every time. Of course, the content changes regularly, but organizing it and communicating it in a similar way will reduce the cognitive load on students trying to get started. Think of it like cooking successfully. In an online setting, it is critical not to bury information under a bunch of clicks. Assess the page. Have you made it difficult for students to access information, or is it truly at their fingertips? Will your students easily be able to get back to where they came from? If you need a student to click, embed the link right in the text with a clear description of where they're going. By elevating what is most important and getting rid of what is not, you'll be guiding your students to success.
So, how we define the good instructional materials after we watch the video? So, as you can see in the video, making an instructional materials is easy. All you need to do is follow the tips to make your students understand and learn in your lesson. These instructional materials is define you as an effective teacher. The video shows some tips in building your instructional materials, which is great help for us. We must notice that all of us can make an instructional materials, but not all of us can make a good instructional materials. So what do we mean by this? Some of us fail to catch student attention even though we did everything from presenting, explaining, and etc. We know that we make our best to make instructional materials, but it's always failed. The only answer is you did not make a good instructional materials, because good instructional materials can make your student more interested to listen to you because they see that you did a great job to catch their attention. So that is all about the good characteristic of instructional materials. So we define and discuss the different characteristic of good instructional materials. So we will now proceed to our next topic, which is the technology tools. So technology tools, according to IGI Global, refer to the software primarily that can be used to develop or support online course content. So these include blogs, wikis, authoring tools such as Articulate or Captivate, and Web 2.0 tools available through the internet. So one of the example of classroom-based technology is the clicker technology. So clicker technology, this include the whiteboard, index card, poster, audience responses system. On this clicker technology, the students can participate to answer quizzes or activity by using the responses of the quizzes or activity that the students produce will get easily. So, according to LIET 2018, educators have said the benefits that come with having and using technology in school includes expanding on and reinforcing lesson content and motivating students to learn. It also gives teacher the option to reach student with a different learning style. So here are some technology tools that may help you to engage your student learning process and may contribute to create a good instructional materials. I'll just show you some example of technology tools that will help you to create your instructional materials. So, number one is Adobe Spark Video. This application enables students to produce short film animated, narrated explainer video. Student can easily add photos, video clips, icons, and voice, as well as the professional quality soundtrack and cinematic motion to their video creation. Video blog and making them is a great way to engage student creatively and out of the box approach to class projects or reviewing learning materials. So this is the Adobe Spark Video look likes.
This is Richard Byrne. In this video, we're going to take a look at the latest feature of Adobe Spark's video editing tool, and that is the option to insert video clips from your computer or your iPad into your Adobe Spark videos. So let's go ahead and get started. Click on the video option. And I'm going to have to sign back in. And now we can just say this will be a fun sample video. Now the theme that we pick or the template that we pick doesn't matter. We'll just do a quick show and tell here. And now when we add things to the video, we can specify the layout. We do a full screen plus one thing. So let's go and click on the plus symbol, and you'll see we have photo, icon, or text. But over here, I have the video option. And I'm going to use this video here that I have on my desktop of the dogs swimming around. And I can specify how much of it I want to use. I can even clip the beginning out if I want to. And save that. And now that video clip will be in my Adobe Spark account, and I can use it in my video. And now that the video is processed, it is inserted into the background of this slide. If I want to record my voice over this.
And now we will proceed to the next technology tools, which is the Google Classroom. It is a powerful community-based social tool for learning. It allows students to pose questions and receive answers from their teacher and fellow students. Furthermore, teacher can post interviewing questions and lesson materials for review at home. It also can be great help to integrate with other Google products such as Google Forms, which can be the great way to get feedback from the students. So here are some pictures of Google Classroom. So we are all familiar in the Google Classroom. So let's proceed to the next technology tools, which is Prezi. According to Prezi, creating, giving, and tracking beautiful interactive presentation is as easy as 1, 2, 3. With their cloud-based presentation software, Prezi presentation are nothing like your traditional presentation, zooming in and out and moving side to side across one single, very attractive and modern canvas, focusing in on image and videos inputted by the user. Prezi is very popular and consistently receive excellent review. So next technology tools is the Quizlet. It provides a platform for student and teacher to create and share their own learning materials, including flashcards and diagram. So Quizlet Live is a pre-in-class quiz game produced by Quizlet that can bring these learning materials to life. In this engaging and interactive game, students must all contribute, stay focused, and communicate well to win. Quizlet consistently receive excellent reviews, and it is a great way to bring study notes into the 21st century. So that's all for the technology tools. We've done discuss for the good characteristic of instructional materials and for the technology tools. Now we will proceed to our conclusion about the topic. One way of selecting technology tools for classroom use, it must be in the coordination with aligning these tools with the specific learning outcomes and instructional strategy. With so many possibilities for digital learning, selecting media and technologies for teaching is a complex process with a wide range of factors to consider. So, so that will be our discussion for today. So that's for the characteristic of good instructional materials and technology tools. I hope that you learned something about our discussion. So thank you for your listening.